And welcome to Wichita. For SIU Edwardsville, it's a dream come true. For Mizzou, it could be a nightmare if they lose, but I don't think that's going to happen. Frank Cusimano with Corey Miller, and how excited are you about covering this event?
I am super excited to cover my first NCAA tournament, and I'm not alone. The SIUE Cougars are here with me as first-timers.
So we're in a different time period in college basketball. It's all about money. Players are bought. Who gives them the biggest paycheck? They go to that school. And some players, even while they're playing for that school, will be looking mid-season to go to another school. And then we have the case of SIU Edwardsville and their head coach, Brian Baroni. They are a different lot. It's all about family and loyalty. Take the case of his star guard, Rayshawn Taylor. He had to tell him 3 times he tore his ACL. The coach stuck with him, and when Rayshawn became a star, he could have left SIU Edwardsville, but he considered coach family, and he stayed loyal. And here they are in the NCAA Tournament. This morning, I asked Coach about this cool shirt he was wearing, which is all about family.
It's a shirt that's close to our heart. It's everyone in our program is represented on this shirt. The people who helped us get to where we are. This is their handwriting. So these are the loved ones that helped them get to where they are today. So that's where this shirt is. It represents our entire program. None of our names are on it. It's like my wife, my kids, my mom and dad, and like that for all of our players. It's an important shirt for us.
The Missouri Tigers took the court a few hours after the Cougars, and they looked ready for battle with Drake, including forward Mark Mitchell, who said he is good to go after a knee injury scare in the SEC tournament. The homecoming king for the Tigers is Caleb Grill. The Wichita native had a winding road to becoming the SEC Sixth Man of the Year and one of the best shooters in the entire country. Now the former Kansas High School Athlete of the Year aims to keep his career going in front of his people.
All my family and friends who have all traveled to watch me play, me being able to be right down the street from where they live, it's just cool to me that they've shown support all year and now they're all going to be able to show out tomorrow. Just the willingness to want to win, I think, and that's one thing that I've been able to do throughout my career is just find different ways to win, whether it's been scoring a lot or holding teams to a lower deficit of points, and just being able to do it with this group of guys. And some people in this room haven't been to the NCAA tournament yet, so being able to bring them there and try to show them the ropes of how to get there, I think that's just what's been the most fun about this season.
The 19, they have not been below 500.
Let's head to Columbia, Missouri, the Final Four Class 6 semifinal. Chaminade and Lafayette, and Jahidi White Jr. will get the dunk, and the Red Devils are headed to the finals. Chaminade blasts Lafayette 72-42.
Taking flight. Card Spring Training, sponsored by Woods Basement Systems.
Well, the Cardinals bats may be waking up today against the Nationals. Alec Burleson took it out of the park. That's his 3rd spring training home run. And Nolan Gorman connected for an RBI double. Need to see that. Cards win 7-1. They've scored 17 runs in their last 3 games.
The Blues are hotter than Frank's red sauce, and it helps when Jordan Kyrou has got his mojo. 2 more goals last night, 29 for the season. The Blues beat the Preds 4-1. They will face the Canucks Thursday in the biggest game of the year so far. The 2 teams are right now tied for the final playoff spot. It's all about basketball here in Kansas. With Corey Miller, I'm Frank Cusimano. Let's send it back to the studio.
All right, Frank and Corey, thanks very much.
Welcome to Wichita, site of the NCAA Tournament. Frank Cusimano with Corey Miller. Boy, our local teams have come a long way. Last year, we were really worried about Mizzou, 0-18 in the SEC, and how about SIUE?
The Cougars are not going to forget tomorrow. Their first ever NCAA tournament game, going to live on forever.
So let's begin with Mizzou. It was kind of vogue, kind of chic on Sunday night when the pairings came out for all the national experts to pick number 11 seed Drake to beat Mizzou. But let me just say this. Drake has never seen an athlete like Mark Mitchell of the Missouri Tigers. And the good news, as we go to video, is Mark Mitchell is healthy. Yes, he is. He looked good today in practice. He's ready to go. He set out the 2nd game of the SEC tourney. Could have played with the Tigers, played it smart. And smart is how they will have to play tomorrow against the Bulldogs, who is one of the best coached teams in America. But this special Tiger squad is really, really athletic. And I don't know if Mizzou has ever had 6 players on their roster with 900 or more points at the same time. Earlier, we spoke with the squad about all the weapons they possess.
No one on this team can't score the ball. Like, everybody on this team can score the ball. We have 18 starters is what we would call it.
Majority of games we played always been somebody probably different. You know, Caleb, Mark, Tamar, you know, anybody who's on the floor. Wherever you got the hot hand, that's what you just need to go to.
From the summertime, this team has talked about San Antonio, and, you know, we turned a lot of heads this year, and, you know, the sky's the limit for us. So I think we could definitely make it to San Antonio and even farther than that.
Before the Tigers take the court in just about 24 hours from now, the SIU Edwardsville Cougars will make their NCAA Tournament debut as a 16 seed against number 1 seed Houston. There is precedent for a historic upset. 2 16 seeds have beaten 1 seeds in the tournament's history. The Cougars have been dreaming of this opportunity for a very long time.
It's breathtaking. I'm not going to lie. I was the kid that, you know, was the ball boy on my dad's staff when he was in, in Utah years and years ago. When we were down at Dallas when I was a little kid. It's an honor. It's breathtaking. I'm trying to soak it all in.
It's going to be a surreal feeling, like you said. There's a moment that, like, as a college basketball player, you always want to reach at a certain point in your career.
Being able to win a championship and get to this moment, like you said, all the hard work I put in, my loyalty finally paid off.
Taking flight. Card Spring Training, sponsored by Woods Basement Systems.
Help mold them into the players and people they are today.
Cardinals and Nationals in Jupiter today, and Victor Scott is still hitting. This is his 3rd home run of the spring. Steven Matz was sharp. He went 6 innings and gave up just 1 run. The Cardinals roll 7-1. If you would like to see more of our NCAA tournament coverage, you can join us on 5+ at 6:30. For Corey Miller, I'm Frank Cusimano. Let's send it back. And welcome to Intrust Bank Arena in Wichita, Kansas. It's the NCAA Tournament, and we basketball junkies are loving it. Frank Cusimano with Corey Miller, and I don't think our local teams got great draws. SIU Edwardsville playing maybe the best team in America, the Houston Cougars, and then Mizzou has to face a team that won 30 games, the Drake Bulldogs.
Mizzou trying to avoid that trendy 11/6 upset pick, Frank. The Tigers are back in the NCAA Tournament after a year hiatus where they infamously didn't win a game in the SEC. That's not the case for Dennis Gates' squad this year. The Tigers are one of the deepest teams in the entire tournament. They have a top 10 offense in the country, bolstered by their ability to get to the free throw line. They're a 22-win team and a 6th seed in the Big Dance, but do not think for a second this squad doesn't still have a chip on its shoulder.
The consensus is that, 6-11 matchups, they don't really go well for the 6th seed, and a lot of people have, the 11th seed upsetting us tomorrow. The media is writing the narrative for us. They're giving us the extra motivation. So I congratulate them for that, because sometimes you do just need a little bit of extra motivation, to show people who you really are.
Yeah, man, it's something we've been doing with all year. We've seen everything. People been talking about us losing, things like that. It's not nothing we're not used to, man. No one expects us to be good this year, so it's not nothing new. We're just gonna keep doing what we do.
And then we have the Cougars against the Cougars. Brian Baroni has guided SIUE to their first ever NCAA tournament. Houston is a 28-point favorite. The Cougars have a 3.8% probability to win. But SIUE has 2 talented guards in the Taylors, Rayshawn and Brian, and those 2 have been dreaming of this moment their entire careers.
It's going to be a surreal feeling, like you said. There's a moment that, like, as a college basketball player, you always want to reach at a certain point in your career. And just to be here with this group of guys and just having this moment, just being able to interact with them in the way that we have the whole season, and just being able to go out there with the opportunity to compete, it's going to be a good time.
Moses is definitely through the roof, you know what I'm saying? We worked hard to get to this point. But once we out there, it's time to play. So that's what we're going to be ready to do.
It's breathtaking. I'm not going to lie. I was the kid that, was the ball boy on my dad's staff when he was in, in Utah years and years ago. When we were down at Dallas when I was a little kid. It's an honor. It's breathtaking. I'm trying to soak it all in, and I'm just, it puts things in perspective how lucky I am. We have to, pick and choose when we got to go hit them with the right kind of play. We have to simplify. It's more concepts. All right, here's the concept of what we're going to do in this action. Now we got to move the ball, make the extra pass, attack, make the right read. If it doesn't work, you got to go do it again. But yeah, we can't overcomplicate things tomorrow.
I just hope SIUE can handle some of that heat early. Houston is one of the few teams, I don't care what your offense is, you can't run it against them.
I know there's a big group of Edwardsville fans on their way here. They're going to make themselves known.
Taking flight. Card Spring Training, sponsored by Wood Basement Systems.
All right, let's talk some baseball. For a change, everything was positive for the Cardinals today. What you wanted to see, you saw happen. Let's pick up the highlights from the Cardinals' afternoon tilt against the Nationals. And how about Victor Scott? He continues to be the story of the spring. This is his third home run. Lars Nootbaar, Wilson Contreras, and Ivan Herrera had 2 hits. Steven Matz went 6 innings, allowed 1 run, and the Birds won it 7-1.
Class 6 high school basketball, Final Four, Chaminade versus Lafayette. Frank Bennett's squad was dominating. Jahidi White Jr. with the dunk, and Chaminade moves to the state title game with a 72-42 victory.
Incarna Word and Dan Rolfus back at Mizzou Arena a year after his heart attack in the state semifinals. A much better story this year for the Red Knights. Nevaeh Lucius scored 16 points, and Incarnate Word rolls 66-45. That will do it here from Wichita. Expanded coverage all day tomorrow on 5 on Your Side as SIU Edwardsville tries to really work a miracle and Mizzou tries to advance to the next round. With Corey Miller, I'm Frank Cusimano. And good morning and welcome to Wichita, Kansas. 2 big basketball games surrounding our local teams today. Frank Cusimano with Corey Miller. Let's begin with game 1. SIU Edwardsville against the #1 seed, the Houston Cougars.
28.5-point spread. If you're interested in that kind of thing here in Wichita in game #1. But for the Cougars, just being here is an accomplishment in and of itself. Now, they're not going to see it that way if they lose in the first round, but they've never been here before. They're a 16 facing a 1 seed. We have seen it happen before.
I just wonder if they can handle that suffocating pressure by Houston, because that's the one team you normally can't run any offense against. Then, 6:30 tonight, it's going to be one of the fastest teams in college basketball, the Missouri Tigers, against the slowest team, Drake, who won 30 games.
Trying not to get too into hyperbole here, but we watched Mizzou practice today, and they look like the Globetrotters out here. I mean, dunking, flying all over the place, very impressive. And it was good to see Mark Mitchell out here. A little bit of a concern with his knee out of the SEC tournament. Looks like he's good to go. The Tigers can fill it up from just about anybody.
And the key is for Mizzou stopping Bennett Sturtz, the player of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference, a guy who's like 6'3", who just gets his shot, only player in America to lead his conference in scoring, assists, and steals. He's a special player.
Anthony Robinson probably going to be on him. All SEC defensive team. That's a big assignment, and if Mizzou wants to win, they're going to have to shut him down.
We'll have expanded coverage throughout the day on 5 on Your Side. For Corey Miller, I'm Frank Cusimano. Let's send it back.
I still can't figure out why they're whispering. When SIUE tips off against #1 seed Houston, it will be the biggest game in program history by a long shot. The Cougars are dancing for the first time in their 50-plus year history. The program did not go D1 until 18 years ago. Corey tracked down a pair of original Cougars in Wichita yesterday to see what this moment means to them.
Well, when they first went D1, they had us talk to the team, and I said, you guys are not the first D1 team. We were, because it was all one level. You played effort. There was no D2 or 3.
And our first official practice was on Saturday at 10 o'clock. Harry put our uniforms on. We took our team picture. And then he said, gentlemen, take a knee. He said, one day you're going to be so proud of this university because we're going to go to the big dance one day. And so we were no doubt that Harry was always right, and I had no doubt that this was going to happen one day.
That is a beautiful quote.
Love it.
That is a beautiful quote. That could bring tears to your eyes.
Welcome to Intrust Bank Arena in Wichita, Kansas. Frank Cusimano with Corey Miller as we continue our NCAA tournament coverage. In just about an hour, it's going to be Brian Baroni and the SIU Edwardsville Cougars against Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars. SIUE has had a terrific season, their first ever berth into the NCAA tournament, but the Cougars are the #1 seed for a reason. Earlier today, I had a chance to talk with Brian Baroni about how they plan to attack this great Houston squad.
We have to, pick and choose when we got to go hit them with the right kind of play. We have to simplify. It's more concepts. All right, here's the concept of what we're going to do in this action. Now we got to move the ball, make the extra pass, attack, make the right read. If it doesn't work, you got to go do it again. But yeah, we can't overcomplicate things tomorrow.
Frank, and when you're a squad in the big dance for the very first time, you get some cool stories, and we found one last night. Check out these two guys. They were on the very first SIUE team all the way back in 1967. They never gave up hope, though. They waited 50-plus years, but they always knew they'd be here.
Well, when they first went D1, they had us talk to the team, and I said, you guys are not the first D1 team. We were, because it was all one level. You played there was no D2 or 3.
And our first official practice was on Saturday at 10 o'clock. Harry put our uniforms on. We took our team picture. Then he said, gentlemen, take a knee. He said, one day you're going to be so proud of this university because we're going to go to the big dance one day. And so we were no doubt that Harry was always right, and I had no doubt that this was going to happen one day.
And welcome to Wichita and our continuing coverage of the NCAA tournament. It's going to be Missouri against Drake in just a little bit, but first up, we had another local team, SIU Edwardsville squaring off against Houston. Corey Miller is here with more on that game.
Frank, only 2 16 seeds have ever beat a 1 seed in the history of this tournament, and I think SIUE found out why earlier today. Let's pick up the highlights. There's Brian Baroni. He's the first man to take SIUE to the tournament in their history. They're going to remember him forever. And when Brian Taylor had this dunk, the Cougars led 4-2. That was their last lead of the game, though. Houston could not miss from 3-point range in the first half. They took command of the game and never looked back. Houston rolls 78-40.
By the end of the night, you're going to realize just what an incredible year it was. You probably realize it right now.
Do you promise me that? When's that going to feel? It's an honor to be able to be in a position where I'm able to talk about this group of guys that I love. And that right there has shown me the impact. I do really appreciate where I am right now, even though the result today wasn't what we wanted.
Frank and Corey back in Wichita. We need to have a close game for a time.
I've been hearing about this March Madness. This is my first time covering it. I've seen 2 blowouts so far. I think we're going to have some closer ones tonight in Wichita, though.
Yep. Let's talk about the first blowout. It was SIU Edwardsville facing the Houston Cougars here in Wichita. And let's pick up the highlights. There is a look at the great Kelvin Sampson trying to get to his 3rd Final Four. Rayshon Taylor with over 1,900 points in his career, had just 10 today, but what a player he's been for the Cougars. But Houston really didn't care about Rayshon. They destroyed the Cougars with some incredible shooting from 3-point range in the first half, and they go on to a 78-40 victory.
100%, I think they can win the national championship. 100%. They are tough. They know their role. They can make shots. They're physical, and they're really good at what they do. If you can be a consistent team for these next 4 or 5 games, that's what ultimately is going to win the national championship. And Coach has done that. Coach Sampson has his team doing that the entire season.
Frank, the Missouri Tigers are on the floor right now for this next game, and the 11-over-6 is always a trendy upset pick. Mizzou is going to look to avoid that against Drake tonight, but they'll have to lock down Drake's star to do it. Bennett Sturtz is a star for Drake, for the Bulldogs. He's one of 7 players from the state of Missouri on that Drake roster. How dominant were his stats? Well, when you join Larry Bird and Oscar Robertson on Missouri Valley single-season accomplishments, that about says it all. Mizzou's all-defensive team guard Anthony Robinson will likely draw the task of defending Sturtz on this deliberate Drake offense.
Yeah.
What makes him tick?
He's got a really good coach. I think his probably greatest strength is his humility, so he's able to learn and adapt to things very quickly.
He's a great player, and I'm just going to stick to coach's game plan, and we're going to, play him hard. He's good. He's a great player. So it's gonna be a hard task for our team tomorrow. Defense is my calling card, so I'm gonna go out there and show them what I've been doing all year and just who I am as a person.
And equally important tonight is the Blues at Enterprise against the Canucks. In fact, it's the most important game of the year for the Node. The Blues and Canucks each have 75 points as they battle for that final playoff spot. Jordan Binnington is between the pipes, and he's a smoking hot 4-0 since the Four Nations face-off. That'll do it from Wichita here. I'm Frank Cusimano. This is Corey Miller. Highlights and postgame coming up at 10 o'clock.
Okay, we'll see you at 10.
And welcome to Wichita. Frank Cusimano with Corey Miller. A very disappointing night for the Tigers. They get beat by Drake 67-57. And there's a lot of good things about the season in terms of you were 0-18 last year. You win 22 this year. You're a sixth seed in the NCAA Tournament. But nobody feels good tonight because Missouri could not execute their game plan. And it was full court pressing, and they weren't allowed to full court press because they didn't score a bucket. And to set up the press, you have to score a bucket. They had 15 field goals the entire game.
It seems like we did 5 live shots leading up to this saying Drake's going to slow the game down and Bennett Sturtz is going to have to go off. And that's exactly what happened. Mizzou did cut it to a 1-point game. The arena was starting to pick up, and then they just never capitalized on it.
We'd like to show you highlights of the game, but we're not allowed to because of NCAA restrictions. But we did go into the Tiger locker room, and here's what they had to say.
It just wasn't our day, man. It's a tough loss. Just trying to wrap my mind about everything that happened. Kudos to them, they're a good team. This wasn't our day.
A lot of memories to build on. This team came a far way, and people didn't even expect us to be here since last year.
Looking at how we started and how it was viewed and how we ended up this far, that's, it's sad, but you just got to try to look at the big picture.
Earlier today in Wichita, SIUE and Coach Baroni facing the #1 seed, the Houston Cougars. Rayshawn Taylor, the best player in Cougar history with over 1,900 career points, hits the jumper for 2 of his 10. But this game was about the other Cougars who were on fire in the first half from 3-point range. They shot over 60% in that first half. They coasted to a 78-40 victory.
Obviously, I had the 3 knee surgeries. He stuck with me, so my legacy more than just win or lose. It's about bouncing back.
Coach, what would you tell the folks back in Edwardsville and everybody who came here today, just right now?
I would tell them thank you. Thank you so much for, thank you. It's about the best thing you can say.
So the Missouri Tigers lost their most important game of the season. The St. Louis Blues did not, Corey.
Some analytics sites said the winner of tonight's game against the Canucks would get a 27% swing towards making the playoffs, and we had some March Madness drama at Enterprise Center. Let's pick up the highlights in this one. Blues and Canucks, and it was going well for the Blues in the third period. Tyler Tucker scored to tie the game, and Dylan Holloway scored 24 seconds later, 3-2 Blues. But with under 5 seconds to go, Quinn Hughes found Brock Besser alone. He beats Jordan Binnington to force overtime. So that steals a point for the Canucks. We're not done yet, though, folks. Late in OT, 2-on-1. Philip Broberg lights the lamp. Blues win at 4-3. They jump into the second wildcard spot.
It speaks a lot to the belief in this group. Nobody stopped working, and we came back once there, and I thought we played a very good game.
Well, that was a playoff game, and boy, what momentum swings in it. I really liked our resilience.
Let's head to Columbia, Missouri. Dan Rolfus and Incarnate Word trying to win the state championship Class 6 finals against Staley, and Nevaeh Caffey, who's had a remarkable career, will get the bucket here for Incarnate, and Incarnate Word with a remarkable 8th straight state championship. The final score 55-41. Frank Bennett and Chaminade trying to win in Class 6 today against Oak Park. And Jahidi White Jr. has been a force all season for the Red Devils. He scores there. but Oak Park outscores Chaminade 24-11 to win the state championship. The final from Columbia, 68-60. And congratulations to Webster Groves. They beat Summit Christian 67-56. The sensational sophomore Scotty Atkinson scored 29 points. That's the story here from beautiful Wichita. Let's send it back to the studio.
All right, thanks so much, Frank and Corey.
And good morning, everybody. Frank Cusimano with Corey Miller. After Mizzou's very disappointing loss in the first round to Drake, 67-57. And Corey, I know people want to talk about all the good things Missouri did this season, like win 22 games, be a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament, but this one just really hurts.
I know Mizzou fans better than a lot of people, and this is the night they're going to remember about this season after all the good things that happened. You and I did 5 different live shots saying what this game was going to be about. Drake playing slow, Bennett Sturtz having a great game. Sturtz scored 21, Mizzou was off its tempo the whole game, and Drake wins.
Sturtz was nearly perfect, 8 of 11 from the field to go along with that 21 points. After the game, we went into the Tiger locker room.
It just wasn't our day, man. It's a tough loss. Just trying to wrap my mind about everything that happened. Kudos to them, they're a good team. This wasn't our day. It wasn't our best day. Yeah.
Everything that, you hear, you kind of just want to prove everybody wrong. Of course, we want to prove everybody wrong and, win this game and go further. But just looking at how we started and how it was viewed and how, we ended up this far, that's, it's sad, but, you just got to try to look at the big picture then.
Yeah, it sucks to end like this, but, we have a lot of memories to build on. This team came far away, and, people didn't even expect us to be here since last year. So, we're definitely proud of our team, and, it was a great time, great year.
The other local team here in Wichita was SIU Edwardsville, and they had the unenviable task of facing a really good Houston team who blasted SIUE 78-40.
Only 2 16 seeds have ever beat a 1 seed, and we saw why up close and personal today. A great season for the Cougars, first time ever in the NCAA tournament. Today was a sad one, though.
And after the game, it was a very emotional Coach Peroni.
Coach, what would you tell the folks back in Edwardsville and everybody who came here today, just right now?
I would tell them thank you. Thank you so much for, thank you. It's about the best thing you can say. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Pretty lucky.
I appreciate all the love, all the support that they showed me, especially in times when I needed it.
And that'll do it here from Wichita. For Corey Miller, I'm Frank Cusimano.